podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
It's a goal! What a goal! It's absolutely world class from Marcus Tunde! Terrific goal!
Johnson puts it in the air. Aidan Flynn wins the goal! It's still with Lee Gregory. He's in the box. Tries to screw him. Is it going to be there? Yes! Oh my word!
The Wednesday week!
Hello and welcome to an edition of Hello from the Other Side, Blackburn Rovers special. And they're the next ones to make the trip to Essex after a fantastic evening last night at Hillsborough, where we got a draw, which we should have won. 1-1 draw against Leicester. Next up is John Dahl Thomason's Blackburn Rovers. And to talk all about them is Dan from Rovers Chat. How are we, Dan? Are we all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much for having us on. I'm looking forward to another trip to Hillsborough.
Yeah, no problem. It's great to have you. Always love talking to fans from other sides. Obviously, this season's been a bit of a dour one for us. So it's sometimes it's a hard one, mate. But tell us all about Blackburn. Obviously, you know that everyone knows our situation at Hillsborough. We got a great point last night, but we still sit bottom of the league, 12 points off of safety as we speak tonight. Rovers in a bit of good form, aren't you, at the minute?
Yeah, we definitely are. It's been an interesting year after last year where we missed out on the playoffs, winning 4-3 at Millwall on the last day from 3-1 down. We come into this year with quite a lot of optimism, and then over the summer we had issues with our owners that basically they live in India, they send money over to fund us, but the Indian government blocked this money. So we got to this stage where we've made 3 signings, 3 really positive, exciting signings that you look at and think they might be that gap that we need, and, they might fill that gap. And then the money got blocked and summer plans changed. So we went from this summer of real positivity, and we made 3 signings by the end of June, which, trust me, Blackburn Rovers never do that. So we sat there thinking we're in a really good position. Then all this comes out. The manager starts talking about leaving. We can't sign a striker until deadline day, and we went and bought, let's be honest, a striker that had only played 4th tier in Germany. So it's been a really positive season after that. After a lot of uncertainty in the summer and a lot of issues, we now sit 7th in the league. Won last night at the time of recording 4-2. We've won 4 away games on the bounce, which I've been watching us 6 years on the road, 7 years religiously, and I couldn't tell you the last time I saw us win 4 in a row. We don't often win 4 in a blinking season, so really positive, and everything just feels like we've found that plan B, which Rovers haven't had for, again, as long as I've been watching. So, yeah, really positive. We're wary of Saturday, we're wary of what he did against Leicester, and we're wary of Rovers' record against the lower teams in this league, but we're optimistic. We come with a lot of confidence as well, which we haven't done too many times on trips to Hillsborough before.
Yeah, mate. What you've sold it to me. We've lost already. No, I mean, like you say, you're 7th in the league. Good 4-2 win out last time against Wayne Rooney's Birmingham. Was it?
It's the full name.
That's the full name. Yeah, we played them last week, and we went 1-0 up and ended up losing 2-1 when we really should have capitalised on his first half, and then we didn't. It was disappointing with them being in such poor form for ourselves. It's I mean, like you say, you come in with a little bit of a form. You've caught us at a great time because we're a bit of form as well. It's not for everyone drawing against top of the league. Mate, I'm taking any positives when I'm talking on this podcast.
Sure? We got battered. We got battered off Leicester at home. Don't worry about that.
So, yeah, his heads are a little bit high, and like I said in the introduction, it's really 3 points. If we'd have come away with 3 points, no one could have argued with that. We were that good, and Leicester were that poor. So you're up next, S6. Mentioned before you've been to Hillsborough. You like Hillsborough? Is it a good ground for you?
It's been all right. We went when the year we got relegated, when I think Pan pushed the ref. I seem to remember that happening when he got sent off, and then we scored off the crossbar, but the ref didn't give it as well, and that ended up sending us down. So that's always long in the memory, and I promise I'm not bitter about that. Do you know what? I find Hillsborough one of them days where it's always been a good game. When I've been, we had that 4-2 when Nuru scored, who just always seemed to love playing against Rovers. And I bet you've had so many people talk about him, how much they hate playing against him and everything else on it.
He's a bit of a Marmite player for us in the history. I mean, some people really love him and his time at Hillsborough, and others, just couldn't take to him. But it was it was a bit different for us. It was. I'll say that. I'll be kind to him.
Yeah. No, that's it with him. And then there's that 5-0 where we won last time. And
what was that? You're breaking up, Dan.
No, I won't mention it again. We'll cut that bit out.
Yeah. 5-0. It was...
Sheffield's a weird one. Sheffield Wednesday for Rovers. We're always struggling both bits of Sheffield, to be honest. But we go into this game looking at it, and we look, and with all respect to Sheffield Wednesday, I think every Rovers fan saying, look, if we want to be where we are now at the end of the season, I know Leicester got only a point the other day, but if you go to these are the ones that you'll look back on at the end of the year if you don't win and think, God, we should have won that one. So we come with optimism, but like I say, we know exactly what you could do and what you did to Leicester.
I totally get that feeling from visiting teams. And you look at it, and no doubt every team's in the same position. Every fan's in. When you're looking at Sheffield Wednesday, and you're going to Hillsborough, especially in the first 10 games under Cisco, it was the first game of the season we played on Friday night, kicked the season off, and I know Southampton.
I watched that,
and they passed us off the park, but they scored in the 86th, so it was like, all right, and they had James Ward-Prowse, they had Teller. As well, I think, and he scored, and it was a Premier League team, and we held our own majority. It went a pretty game, don't get me wrong, but it's one of those places at the minute where we are in the league. I imagine that it's like yourself, Dan, that you'll be looking, going, if we don't come away with 3 points, it's one of those. If, like you say, you're going for the playoffs, you're going up there, you're right up there, but hey. Sheffield Wednesday, it's a championship, mate. We've seen some weird and wonderful results, and we will do. And Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday is going to be another one. I'm positive, Dan. I'm going to say
that. I really hope that.
I mean, to say obviously you're in form, and you have got a player that's banging form as well. Obviously, Sammie Szmodics, is that how you say it? Paul, I'm rubbish at names, mate.
No, you've got it spot on. Yeah.
I like that. He's obviously leading the goal scoring charts at the minute in the league. 14, is it, after a couple that you got last night? I think it is.
13, I think.
Well,
13,
whatever it is, it's more than we've got all season as a collective in our Sheffield Wednesday squad. So he's doing well. So obviously he's going to be the danger man coming on Saturday. Blackburn Rovers rate him highly?
Massively. It's a very interesting story, this Szmodics one. He signed last year. He signed for about £2 million, and £2 million to Blackburn Rovers must be up there with a record signing since we got relegated in 2012. So we sit there and you look at it, we spent £2 million on a player who'd only ever scored 6 goals in the Championship in a season. He's coming into a position where we had Bradley Dack, who's been Rovers' talisman for 3 or 4 years before that. And he's coming into a side that, again, needed £2 million spent in other areas. So we kind of just sat there a bit panicky with the signing. He come in, he really struggled to adapt to. We play really high press. He had a good start and then really struggled for about a month or so, 2 months, played in the under-23s, which John Dole likes doing. He likes playing his fringe plays in the 23s. And then he came back in and you got this hint that maybe this year could be a year that he steps up. But if you'd have told me he were 13 goals, top of the goal scoring chart, 6 goals in November in 4 games, I'd have laughed at you, I'll be honest. But he's just really looked like the player we need. Rovers don't have a striker, realistically. We've got a young lad who's only ever played 4 games before this year. We've got a striker who's been out all season, Sam Gallagher. We've got the German lad from the 4th tier who never scored a goal above the fourth tier. And we've got a striker from Plymouth now, Ennis, who you listened last year, who's been injured most of the year. So Szmodics playing in the number 10 role's basically been that striker without physically playing there. So he'll step up in, he's the man who makes the running behind. So, 13 goals, just been incredible, and I genuinely don't see him slowing down. He signed a new contract on Tuesday, scored twice on Wednesday to seal that. So I'm sure he'd love another couple of goals, take him up to 15. If you'd have told me he'd got double figures by the end of the season, I'd have been happy with that this year. So that almost sums up where Sammie Szmodics is at.
Blooming it. I mean, you were describing your striking options then, and it's very much like Sheffield Wednesdays in a little bit of way. We played an 18-year-old on last night who made his first competitive start for the club, and he did really well. We've got a striker that's only scored, Ashley Fletcher, who's only scored, I think he scored 8 goals in his whole career, and he's been around a bit. So Lee Gregory is not played a minute under the new manager, so he's out. I think he's 34, 35 now. We've got Josh Windass, who he's never a striker. He says he's not a striker. And we've got Michael Smith, who obviously ex-Rotherham, got 20-odd goals last season for us in League One. And he's got 4 this season, 3 or 4 this season. So we're in desperate need for a striker. And January can't come quick enough for that, if I'm honest. So at the minute, if you're playing Sheffield Wednesday before January, we are light on our striker options, and it's shown. We went 9 games, and we only scored 2 goals in them 9 games. That were in the same game against Rotherham. So you can see where we are a bit struggling up front. And no doubt it may be the same on Saturday. I am positive. I mean, like I say, I'll always hold on to that last night, the point against Leicester for the next few weeks, depending on how the results go. So it's in, and you look at Sheffield Wednesday as a Blackburn fan at the minute. Obviously, if you're looking at Sheffield Wednesday, what have you seen of Sheffield Wednesday this season, if anything? And I know it's hard because I don't look at a lot of teams myself other than my own. But just is there any player that you've seen that in a couple of games or highlights or anything that you think must be a bit wary of him, or he's going to have a good game against ex-player of Blackburn?
Yeah, unfortunately, the only game I've actually seen you in fully was that Southampton one you mentioned. I think what we've seen with Sheffield Wednesday this year, like you mentioned, and like I said before, you look at it as, God, we should win this one. But when you put last night in, I know you've got talent. I feel that, the pacey wingers usually have caused this issue before. Is it Masaba on the wing?
Yeah,
I imagine
Masaba,
even if the end product isn't there, if he's up against our fullbacks who are both, they're not the paciest of fullbacks, they're more in there for the defensive solidity, but if you knock it past them, you can probably beat them. Big strikers have been an issue for Rovers for years, like Nimu was. Maybe Michael Smith could cause us problems, although James Hill's been quite good defensively. I just look at this game and I think Rovers can handle these players. I know we can, like we can with most teams in the league. Leicester, we got beat 4-1. It was never a 4-1 game. It was one of them games where we went 2-1 down, went 1-1, went 2-1 down. We threw everything at it, conceded 2 goals. And you look at us and we can, but then you know that it only takes one switch off. It only takes one press. I know you won a lot in the early minutes of yesterday, pressing Leicester from the back.
Yeah, we did.
We play out from the back. So is this going to be another case of that? Barry Bannon's always one I've always seen in the Championship and always thought, do you know what? I wouldn't have minded him at our club. So, no, I've not seen much of you, but I know there's talent, even if maybe the league position suggests that, you don't. But I know there's players there that do.
I think you're right there. The league position for what, and you mentioned like your summer. Our summer was like a soap opera, and it was that much upside down, inside out, turned always. That I don't think we brought in 13 players, and I don't think all them players were the manager at the time's appointments. So, and we did need players. We needed some quality players bring in. And out of the ones we've brought in at the minute, there's only been 2 or 3 that have shown anything in the games. Yeah. I get it's hard because we were getting battered every week. We're not getting... We lost 4-0 against Millwall the other week, but it wasn't a 4, like you just mentioned, against Leicester.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't a 4-0 loss. It was a stupid mistake, and then it was just snowball from there. But we were in the game. We were definitely in the game. It's not like we've not really been battered, should I say?
I know what you mean.
Under Danny Roll. I think he has come in, and the way he's got this team set up and wanting to play. And like you said, you're pressing against Leicester as well last night. And he is going to continue with that sort of play. So if you're saying that Blackburn, obviously, you play out from the back, it could be something that we'll look at that could be advantageous to us, the way you play. So it's going to be good. It is going to be interesting. Like I think from now we are up against it under no illusions. And I think Hillsborough in the past has been the old adage of a fortress. So I think that's what we've got to go for now. And obviously Saturday Blackburn coming. It's going to be good. How many? Do you know how many you've sold? How many are making the trip over from t'other side? Should we call it?
No, not yet. They usually announce it Friday night. I imagine we'll bring north of 1,000 with a busy month though. Southampton's up next away, so I think a few people might be saving the money for that.
Yeah, it's always good for me. I'm one of those that like a full away end. Leicester brought, I think, just over 3,500 last night, which is a cracking effort on a Wednesday night. Absolute Baltic. So it is good. I know, and obviously, maybe with one eye of, we're going to see some goals here, because I saw some Leicester fan did a vlog and obviously saying 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, all that. But I'm sure you're not that confident, are you? Rovers coming.
No, I'd take a 1-0 scruffy goal at the back post. Anything. I think, like I said, this is one of them games you've just got to come out of with 3 points, and whether that's a really nasty way. I'd love for us to go and do a 5-0 again, don't get me wrong, but
Rovers, said it again.
And I'm going to bring it up again too. Rovers, our best moments will come in a spell. We found that in recent games where Birmingham yesterday were 0-0 at half-time, 3-0 in the 60th minute. Stoke away, we were 1 up until 87th minute. We win 3-0. When we get in this rhythm, we're pretty much hard to stop if we can put the ball in the net. That's been our issue, and I think that's where Sheff Wednesday, I think on Saturday, Sheff Wednesday will have to accept that Rovers are good going forward. I think we're 4th ranked top scorers in the league, but we've got that vulnerability in missing those chances. Sunderland at home's the prime example. The first 15 minutes were the best I've seen Blackburn Rovers play for a long time. We did score a goal and we conceded 3, so what Blackburn Rovers turn up, you never know. You've just got to take your chances, haven't you? We've seen so many times that you come out of a game going, oh, we should have won that. But if you can't put it in the net, that's where you cost yourself. And it could easily happen to Rovers on Saturday, although I'm hoping we've got a boots on again after a really good month.
We've as Sheffield Wednesday supporters have said that in far too many games. Not took his chances. And it has cost us. If we haven't scored with the chance, then it's within 10 minutes later that the opposition have scored, and then it's hard for us to get back in. Credit when we have done that, we have come back from a losing position and got a point, which is great. And I just got to build on that. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, all games now for every team in the Championship. I love it. I think it's great, regardless of where we are in the Championship. I'm not too sure. And I'll just ask you your opinion on it, Dan. Is refereeing in the as a whole in the league shocking, isn't it?
Oh, it's abysmal, isn't it? Even there's some games. Do you know what we get on the end of some bad decisions, but this year we've got away with some, and I'll still come out and say it's poor because it's just not. We'll see someone on Saturday, won't we? We'll both on a relative medias and YouTube and that. We'll both be mourning something, and we'll both be probably praising the ref for something he does. It's just not It's not the standard, is it?
It's not. And we've seen it far too many times, and just we are where we are because of how we've played. We have had some dodgy decisions, but as the old adage goes, they even them out over the season, so they reckon. So I can't say that the refs cost us thousands of points, should I say? But no, not at all. It's not one. It's just how we are. It is, and the pressure on all the teams as well. It's a good one. I'm going to ask you. I don't always, but I do it a lot. I always ask the guest to just talk us through how they think. So we're going to get your prediction. You went earlier with a scruffy 1-0, but I'll get you a real prediction. And just it's 3:00. We've kicked off. Let's say Blackburn have got the kick off for the first half. Talk us a quick through how you think the game's going to go, Dan. Just have how you think it's going to play out, because it never does, but good to hear what you think.
Of course. I think Rovers will come out the traps, really. I think we'll try and put that pressure on and get that early goal. Rovers want to go and silence the home crowd. We went to Stoke last week, who'd won 5 clean sheets or something, or 4 or 5 out the last 5. And we scored 4 minutes in, and it just gave Rovers that bit of extra, fight in that game. We went down to Norwich, we put the pressure on early, we scored that goal. I think we'll come out these traps, try and shut the crowd up, especially after you mentioned Wednesday night, where I imagine it'll be a bit more positive. I think we'll go out there and just try and silence that crowd 10 minutes in. And then after that, if Rovers get that early goal, we can then invite the pressure on, because the home team has to go and score. And that's when you then see the best of Rovers attacking. So I think it'll be scruffy. I think it'll be a lot of missed chances, because Rovers have a history of it. You mentioned Chef Wednesday as well. I think we'll see. I'm hoping and I feel that maybe our quality, maybe Sammie Szmodics might just be the difference maker like he has on a few occasions. I'm not predicting a big score, because it's not often we get them. It's not often we score 2 or 3 goals, never mind, 4 or 5. So I'm expecting us to come out, get that early goal, and then really kill off the game later on. But I'm not confident. I always get wary with these games.
I hear what you're saying about and I get where you said you put the pressure on early. If you get 1, then you can roll into 2 and 3 quite easily with the games you've said before. So we've got to be very wary of that. Like I said, against Millwall, it wasn't a 4-0, but we were guilty of that. 1 goal and the heads go down like that, and it could turn into that. But I'm positive. I've got to be positive. We've got Windass is back from a 1-game suspension for 5 cards. Obviously, we've lost Buckley, because obviously he's on loan from yourself. So just on that, what's your thoughts on Buckley? Because he's not had the minutes, should we say. He's not been given a fair crack. And probably last night was his probably best. He came as a substitute, and his probably best appearance that he's had for a bit. What's Blackburn's take on him?
I love John Buckley. I'll be honest, we've had him on the channel before, and we've had a good chat with him about his way of playing. And he's a slight player. I think people look at him at times and see him as this really thin lad who, might get knocked off the ball. For me, I was very shocked he went out on loan. The manager seemed shocked, though. It doesn't seem like it were all his decision as such. Buckley's in this position in this team where we've got Adam Wharton, who's 18-year-old and 19. People talk about him the same as they talked about Alex Scott, so he's almost guaranteed that game time. And he's a similar build to Buckley, so he's almost always competing with Buckley for this position, which I think Buckley suffered from. For me, I think Buckley's best position's a bit further forward, maybe in the 10 role, but that's Sammie Szmodics role. So kind of the 2 best positions he's at are the 2 where Rovers have probably got the best players in this team. So he sits in that role. If he had to go out and get football, because he wouldn't be playing, we look at our bench now, and our 3rd choice midfielder, Garrett, gets 10 minutes here and there, which isn't good for Buckley, really. Yeah. I love him. I think he's got a big future ahead of him. Whether it's at Rovers under this manager, I don't know, because I don't think it suits him. Tony Mowbray, when we had Tony, he was a massive fan of Buckley because he's that slight midfielder, can move. John Dow prefers a bit more. I don't know. I think he'll come back here in January, though. We need a player on the bench. We need another midfielder. He's not playing it. If he's not playing at Sheff Wednesday, he might as well not be playing at Ewood and just be around our squad if we need him.
Yeah, he's not getting the minutes. I tell you, he does come across. In the first few games, he did come across as slight and a bit lightweight. But actually, there were a couple of challenges last night. He got stuck in and put himself about a bit. And if the number 10 role is where he likes to play, he's not going to get that at Sheffield Wednesday, because if and when we do play that sort of way is Barry Bannon. That's where Bannon loves to operate, and that's where he has done most. So he'll be competing there. But I was quite impressed that we brought Buckley in. Just not seen, probably through game time. Is he a player that if he plays the minutes, you do see the best out of him? He's not an impact player, is he? Is he more of a gets into the game?
He's definitely that. He's one that, you see him sit in the midfield, and like Wharton, who plays in his role, you've got to give him time, let him have that ball at his feet, let him get a few passes off. Buckley's always had that. For me, the criticism that's always hung over him is this lightweight, because you do look at him and think, God, look at him, he's a really small, he's not a big lad, he's quite thin, but his better attributes come on the ball, and when he's playing, he's not going to be a defensive midfielder, which, again, Rovers ask of their midfielders, which might be a bit of an issue. I just feel he's got everything he needs. Maybe it's one of them cases of, you're not going to get game time here, you might go somewhere else in this division and do it. I just hope he gets get some game time, because he's too good of a talent to not be playing, whether that's at your club or at our club.
Yeah, very true. It's it came with a bit of a high hopes, obviously, with some fans from Rovers. It's just that he's not had the game time. So, unfortunately, I do think he'll go back in January. I think there's going to be a couple of our loan players that go back, if they can go back, obviously. But obviously, you were halfway through your match thing, and you were saying that Wednesday were 4-0 up, Dan. So that's good of you. So you can finish up. So now, right, I'll trouble you for an honest prediction. Honest prediction. I know. I do like that because you do see us at the bottom of the league, and you do hear that, it's going to be an easy 3-4-0. But if you're a bit reserved, Dan, and you're thinking, then we're doing something right in the eyes of the rest of the league.
It's yesterday's point. We've seen so many sides play Leicester, and like I say, I know I said it weren't a 4-1 at Ewood, but that's what they can do. And half the time we played them at Ewood, it felt like they weren't even trying half the time with the ability they had. The reason part of it is Rovers love throwing away these points. We've seen it in the past. I remember the best one was we needed the playoffs when we had Jordan Rhodes and Rudy Gestead up top, scoring 50 goals. And we drew 0-0 with Yeovil, who picked up about 20 points all season. And that's Rovers fans' biggest worry. I know every club probably thinks it about them. When your club's up here and you play a team down there, I'll go 2-1 Rovers. I think we'll get the win. The nerves are just there because I've seen us not win these games before, and I've seen it a few times. So hopefully we can just go. Early goal for me. It settles the day. If we score early, we win that game. I've no doubt about that.
I've done a podcast with other Yorkshire teams, the White Rose Rivals, earlier tonight, and we do predictions for each other team, and they all had Wednesday to win. So obviously there's no Lancashire Yorkshire thing there, is there at all? But they've just gone all Wednesday, and I went for a 2-1 Wednesday because I am positive like that.
You've got to be after the other night. It shows you can compete, doesn't it?
And we have to because I think there's 7 games in December, thick and fast. It's 7 games, so we're talking we're going to 25 by January the 1st. if we don't get a fair few points in these next 7 games, then it is. But Dan, thank you very much for joining us, chatting all about Rovers. Just give us a couple of minutes of what you're up to on your channel. If any of the Wednesday fans fancy having a look.
Yeah, it's completely Blackburn Rovers related content. Of course, we've got the podcast that comes out weekly. We do match previews, opposition previews. We do post-match reactions. We do player ratings. Everything after a game that maybe you get in your local paper. We kind of do video form, interviews with former players. We've had Tommy Spear on, former Sheff Wednesday player.
Yeah,
that's
Tommy.
The only one. Well, we've had Jake Keane as well, but I'm not going to class him as a former Sheff Wednesday player. He didn't really do much, did he? But no, plenty of content over on there. It's just people following the club that like to have a moan when we're bad, like to think we're the best in the world when we're good. And we do it honestly as well. You know, if we play and you win, we're not going to come on after saying, oh my God, we've lost to the West Side with everything. We won't do that. We like being honest, and hopefully you can come and check us out and check out what we have to say about the game. Whether you agree or not, it's another story. You can always leave a comment and tell us we're talking crap.
Yeah, well, you may or may not, depending on how it goes at 5 o'clock or whenever your content goes up, Dan, Saturday night or whatever, you may have got some Wednesdayites either congratulating or goading or, it all depends. Yeah, they are Wednesdayites. Everyone listening, just crack onto Rovers chat and give them some hell, regardless of the result, because we got robbed if we lose. I'll take that.
Yeah, robbed by the refs. We'll blame the refs.
Yeah, that's it. Because we've talked about them. That's it. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Dan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll not say good luck for Saturday, but maybe good luck for the rest of the season. And it's been a pleasure talking to you.
No, thank you for having us on, and all the best. I hope you do well. But give us 3 points Saturday. We'll have another win, and then we'll wish the best for Wednesday.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, listening and watching. You can find us all over the social medias. You can see on the bottom of the screen here. I'll do the usual. Like, subscribe, all that to the videos. It's much appreciated. And we'll see you on the other side. And cheers for listening.